Okay, here's an interesting math question I just made up. There are two cats. I call them cat A and cat B. I put markers. Excuse me, that's very rude. I'm doing a math question. You come in the way in front of the camera. Imagine you watching TV and someone sits in front of you. Anyway, I'm going to put two more markers down. Cat A is here and cat B is over there. There are 15 feet between the two cats, and we are told that cat B goes at 4 feet per second, cat A goes at 5 feet per second. So there's 15 feet between them. This cat goes 4 feet per second, that cat goes 5 feet per second. How much time until they meet, and how far will they each travel until they meet? So what I do is I make a diagram with speed, distance, and time, and I put markers where the starting location is. Okay, and in the diagram you can see the speed of A is 5 and of B is 4. The time taken is the same for both, so I can use the same letter for each. So I used Y, and the distance traveled, I can make up any letter for the distance till they meet. I called it X. So this cat travels X, the A cat travels X plus 15. That's the distance. Now what we know is that speed is distance over time. 5 is X plus 15 over Y, and 4 is X over Y. So those are my two equations. All right. And what I can do I want to do now is solve for X and Y. One method is to isolate Y and solve for X first, or isolate X and solve for Y first. I think both methods will work. So there's my equation. And what I do is, here I decide to isolate Y. If X plus 15 divided by Y is 5, it means X plus 15 divided by 5 is Y. Like if 10 divided by 2 is 5, that means 10 divided by 5 is 2. Same principle. Same thing, if X divided by Y is 4, it means X divided by 4 is Y. Now if Y equals X plus 15 over 5 and Y equals X over 4, means X plus 15 over 5 equals X plus 4, X over 4. And what I can do now, given that Y equals each, these two have to be equal. X plus 15 over 5 equals X over 4. And it's an equal sign. What I do to one side, I do to the other. One way is cross multiplication. And for those who don't understand that, I can take each equation and times by 20, because 5 and 4 goes into 20. You see, if left equals right, 20 times left equals 20 times right. It's like you have two bags of sand. If they are equal weight, if they both times by 20, they'll still both be equal. And now with 20, 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. That's why I chose 20, it simplifies. And 4 times X plus 15, I'll multiply that 4 in, it's 4X plus 60 equals 5X. There's an equal sign, I subtract 4X from each side. So 60 is equal to X, and I find any equation with the X and Y. Once I know X is 60, I can take such as this equation, 60 divided by 4 is 15, and there we've got that Y equals 15. So if X equals 60, this cat travels 60 feet, this cat travels 60 feet, this one travels 75 feet, and if Y equals 15, Y is the amount of time traveled. Each cat traveled for 15 seconds. Now, if I go back to this equation, there I isolated Y. For fun, I'll do it the other way. We isolate X. I'll multiply each. See over here where I said let's isolate Y. Now I'm going to try isolate X. It's the other method. It's like if 10 divided by 2 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, same principle. X plus 15 divided by Y is 5, 5 times Y is X plus 15. Same principle. Here, it's an equal sign. I multiply each side by Y. 4Y equals X. That's an equal sign. I subtract 15 from each side. X equals 5Y minus 15. x equals 4y. Therefore, 5y minus 15 equals 4y. It's an equal sign, so I subtract 4y from each side. So y equals 15. I get y minus 15 is 0, so y equals 15. And I find any equation with x and y, like 4y equals x. 4 times 15 is x, so x equals 60. So there we go. If x equals 60, the distance I traveled, this cat B, they traveled 60 feet, cat A traveled 75 feet, and the time they took, we said y equals time, they did it in 15 seconds. So time taken is 15 seconds, and they traveled 60 feet for the one cat and 75 feet for the other. And I apologize that someone stood in the way of the camera. That's very rude, and I'm going to give that person a lecture not to get in the way of the camera while I'm lecturing. I put markers to help show where the cats were. I didn't tell them to eat those markers.